These Mavens feel so much better. This is how they're supposed to feel like. Welcome back to Garage 31. The SRAM Maven brakes are some of the most powerful on the market, but you might not be setting them up properly. I've got 3 tips to show you to get them all dialed. Let's get into it.
Yeah, man.
Now the first tip is about how we bleed and pressure the system. I'll show you how to bleed the brake, and then we're going to pressurize the system to get the full range out of the contact adjustment dial. So we're going to need some mineral oil. The Mavens run mineral oil, not dot fluid, unlike the older SRAM brakes. It needs a mineral oil specific bleed kit. The bleeding port edge is a 5mm, not a 4, so you can't interchange them. We're going to use a Maven specific pad spacer, as well as just some consumables, shop towel, rag, bike cleaner. Here's a little close-up of the 5mm fitting at the end of the syringe. Now grab your pad spacer. This is the one specific for the Maven. Install it in the caliper. Still have the pads in. That's what we need. We're going to crack the bleed port screw loose. Install one of the syringes that has fluid in it. Install the other one on the lever, the empty one. Now at this point here, I'm like, why is this not bleeding? Well, turns out I put it on the wrong brake. Seeing as I run my brakes on the other side, I completely forgot. So back to basics here. Install the syringe on the right side, and we're just going to do a standard bleed. I've covered this many times. I'll send a link to a video explaining that, but essentially we're just moving fluid from front to back. We're not sucking fluid, but we're pushing fluid through until there's no air. We can close the system, remove both the syringes, and we can take a measurement here and see how much lever travel we have. So currently the lever is at 5 centimeters away from the bar, and when depressed it's just below 3. We can turn this dial and we can get it even closer, so at 2.7 there, which is not quite ideal. What we're looking for, something a little bit firmer. So you reinstall the syringe on the rear caliper, and we're going to push down on the syringe, and that's going to force the pistons to get closer to the disc, or to the pad spacer in this case. And we're going to have to do this a few times and feel at the lever how tight or loose the brake system is. Make sure to close the brake caliper each time before you depress the lever. So you can see there we're 3.5 centimeters now, twisting the dial so it gets to its firmest, which is away from the arrow. And now we are just over 4 centimeters. So that's a full centimeter of lever travel that's improved. There's a quick tip there also. A Q-tip is great for cleaning up the old fluid. Remember to close the 5mm bleed port screw. Now bear with me on this. If you imagine the contact adjustment dial as a scale from 1 to 10, what we've essentially done with a standard bleed is made the loosest feeling a 1, and then the firmest feeling a 5. And with the pressure technique, we've essentially moved the loosest feeling from a 5 and the firmest to a 10. So that's going to give us the best brake feel for the whole length of time of the pads. Now tip number 2 is about how we set up the lever. We want to find the most ergonomic position that's going to give us the most control and the most power. There's a huge range of adjustment on the Maven levers. Maximum reach is 8 centimeters. We can use the reach adjuster dial here to move the lever in and out. We want the lever to be as close to the bar as possible. So there's almost 4 centimeters worth of adjustment here. We also have the bite point control. If you turn the dial towards the arrow, it's going to move the bite point closer to the handlebar. It's kind of confusing. And moving the bite point and the lever really close to the bar, we're going to alleviate our forearms and our upper body, which is really the whole benefit of the Mavens. They're just so powerful, you don't need to squeeze in that hard. Don't forget about the angle too. I run about a 65-degree angle. If you have them too high, you might get some wrist pain. Too low, it's going to put your body position way off. If you have the wrong angle, you're going to look something like this guy here, and nobody wants that. And don't forget to tie them up. Tip number 3 is about how much power we can access via the rotors. We can change the rotor diameter and thickness to alter how much power we get. When I first ran Mavens, I had Code RCs on before. I had a 220 front disc. When I switched to the Mavens, I quickly realized how scary it was. The front wheel would lock, even on those steepest sections. And I actually went down to a 200 on the front and the rear, and it made a world of difference. Pretty much everyone I know is running a 200 front, 200 rear SRAM HS2 rotor, which is a thicker of the two that SRAM offer, 2.0 versus the centerline 1.8. Obviously, the thicker rotor is stiffer and offers better braking performance. Your brakes shouldn't give you a 4-round workout. We're looking to achieve the exact opposite and make it as easy as possible on our upper body. That's my 3 tips on how to dial in your Mavens. Now let's go for a ride and see how they feel. Oh look, some Garage 31 tubeless valves. You can get those online, link below. We're up in Coho Park in Squamish. It snowed recently, so it's not that much open, but we've got a little trail here we can use to see how good these Mavens are. Now, excuse any brake noise, it is wet, so might have some. And because we moved the levers close to the bar, it means we've got the full range of motion for our upper body. Big hock, nice. Control down there. To the hock. Whew. Spicy. Like I was saying, we move the brake lever close to the handlebar so we get the full range of motion without much fatigue. And by advancing the pistons with a syringe chuck, pressurizing the brake, it means that you can run the levers really close and still have a very firm feel. In fact, this is currently at its loosest or most lever travel setting. And then again, if you find the brakes are too powerful, the rotor size and the rotor thickness are 2 things to think about. The thicker HS2 rotors will give you more power. The thinner centerline rotors will give you less power. So feel free to hop between the 2 and see what suits you. Hope you guys learned something. If you found this useful, if you've got any questions, just leave a comment below, and I'll see if I can answer them as soon as possible. And otherwise, I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks.